Good afternoon and welcome to Restaurant Review. It's the beginning of November 2010. We're hoping everyone had a great Halloween last weekend, and our boys locally, the Saints, pulled it out for us. We really need that. Well, we're back enjoying the change of weather. It's really very, very nice. A little rain this week, but it's nice and cool. So this is our nice fall that we have very limited exposure down here. But with that, we do have a new restaurant for you and its chef, and we also are bringing you, as usual, a musician. Now, this musician came in earlier a few months ago, and we recorded him and did a couple of songs for us, and so we're going to take a listen before we meet our chef, and I believe the young gentleman's name is Stephen Lanier. I know he's local, so let's take a listen, and we'll see you after his song.
This song's called Seen a Face.
I can't forget the time or place where we just met. She's just a girl for me, and I want all the world to see we met. La da 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 da. Had it been another day, I might have looked the other way. I might have never been aware. As it is, I'll dream of her tonight. La da 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 da. Falling, yes, I am falling, and she keeps calling back again. I have never seen the likes of this man alone. I have seen things and kept out of sight. Other girls were never quite like this. La da 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 da. Falling, yes, I am falling, and she keeps calling me back again. Again. Oh, I've just seen her face, I can't forget the time or place where we just met. She's just a girl for me, and I want all the world to see we've met. La da 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 da. Falling, yes, I am falling, and she keeps calling me back again. Falling, yes, I am falling, and she keeps calling back again.
Well, that was Stephen Lanier catching us up on an old Beatles song, in case you had forgotten it. Put it a little faster than what I recall, but anyway, he'll be back for a couple of more songs during the show, and like I say, he is a native, so I know he does a lot of work at the Danielle Street Coffee House. I'm filming alongside forgetting the name, but anyway, you know what I'm talking about. We get a lot of young stars there, so check it out if you haven't been there. But let's go into our most important part of our show, and that is the new restaurant that we have for you today, and the chef. This restaurant is in our Mid-City location, which is starting to really bring back not only its residents, but also some of the restaurants and on its main drag on Carrollton Avenue, where the streetcar runs on down to the park. And this restaurant opened briefly, I would say maybe a year to 2 years at the most. It was a great little single shotgun that had been renovated into a restaurant, and then the folks had to give it up. We won't go back to that. They were actually on. It was called Arabesque, for anyone who remembers seeing them a few years back. But it's been refurbished now. It's nice and bright and shiny, so you can't miss it when you see it. And it goes under the new name, Rue 127. And of course, that's from its address there on North Carrollton. And it's, like I say, right in the first block of North Carrollton, so you can't miss it, even though it's wedged between two buildings. But the chef has done a great job bringing a nice bright white and blue and getting it to bring attention to its small size. And we're pleased to have today the executive chef and owner, and it's Ray Gruetzke. Ray, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good. Tell us a little bit about your background. I think you're a native. I think we've said that. Is that right?
Yeah, I was born and raised in New Orleans.
Okay.
I went to school at Jesuit, graduated there after that. I started going to school at LSU and then decided, it was time to get into the culinary field. So I worked in Baton Rouge for 3 or 4 years, and then after that I went to the CIA in New York, studied there, ended up working.
Yeah.
Worked in New York for a little bit, worked in Sandestin for a resort, and then I decided it was time to come home. So came home, and I worked at Commander's Palace, and then most recently was working at a new restaurant in Le Forêt downtown.
Exactly, new French upscale restaurant, beautifully renovated down right off of on Camp on the first block off of Canal Street. Beautiful place. Now tell me, maybe you can think back. What actually? I asked you earlier before the show whether anyone in your family was really geared to this. You said no. You got a lot of doctors and I think lawyers and Indian chiefs in your family, but no chefs per se. What kind of when you all of a sudden when you were in LSU, when did that groove get you that you said, hey, maybe I'm looking at this is what's really interesting me. Can you recall back?
Actually, it all started when I was in school, just trying to make for a weekend job to get make ends meet, pay rent, and ended up moving to the kitchen. Then started working up from there and worked there for 3 years and decided that's where I wanted to be and wanted to do.
Well, you can't beat that, OJT, and then finding a career out of it. And, of course, fortunate enough that you're able to come back home and join the restaurant crew that we have here. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the restaurant. Like I said, what was nice, it was you really didn't have to do too much except freshen it up, which was good, right?
Right. It was fairly well done from the last owner.
Right.
He did a great job. He's a nice guy. Met him on a couple occasions.
Oh, yes.
He did a very good job renovating it. The floors were nice. The building was done nicely. So we just decided to go in, change the color a little bit, bring in a local artist to put some new art on the wall.
That's what I like. I know that he had a real large kind of Spanish influence.
Yeah,
it was pretty, but again, I think the conversion to our local, especially being in a shotgun home,
Right.
it was just natural,
It's like you can't, if you're a shotgun home, it's a natural thing to kind of go with some local
Exactly.
stuff. But
Well,
he did, it was a Mediterranean like tapas type place, so it kind of had that feel. So we kind of tried to change it and bring it into more of a New Orleans feel with a local artist and just some neutral colors and some bright colors outside to bring people in.
We're going to see some pictures as we speak of the interior. There you go. Now, it's basically, it's really one major dining room. The front room is really the bar and maybe waiting area. I don't know if you serve in that area at all, but the predominant dining room is what we're looking at here as you go around the central fireplace all the way back to the open kitchen. The kitchen is visible at the other end, which we might catch in another picture. There you go, looking, it's a little dark, but that mirror-looking structure is really the window into the kitchen.
Yes.
Where all the goodness is. Now, I know you also, we didn't get a picture, but also this is an unusual shotgun and it has a side gallery. Is that right?
Yes, we do have
a
small porch on the side which allows for seating for two tops, so you can seat 8 people on the outside. We actually do seat in the very front.
I know
a very nice night.
It's really great. Before there was a fence and it was attractive, but here you've opened it up now to really make it more presentable and put a nice little dining, especially right now with our weather. If it stays like this for a while, this is a great time to be outside.
For 3 weeks. For 3 weeks, I got about 3 weeks of outside stuff. And after that, I'm in trouble. But
now, how many approximately seat in the whole place?
In the interior and the main dining room is 30 seats. Outside's 8, and then the front for and then I do serve at the bar if anybody wants to eat at the bar. There's a couple seats in there.
Okay, let's talk about your hours. Are you closed any day at all?
Right now I'm closed Sundays and Mondays.
Dark on Sunday and Monday.
Dark on Sundays and Mondays. Eventually, we will be opening for Sunday brunch.
Sure.
Coming from Commanders, you kind of got to do it. It's kind of ingrained in you.
Now, when we first started, you were doing dinner only. Now, is that still the same?
I'm still doing dinner only.
Well, got to get the groove on.
5:30 to 10:30.
Okay.
Tuesday through Saturday for dinner only. It's kind of your bread and butter. It's kind of what you get going, get your reputation out there. So focus on that.
And folks, in today's world, where of course we don't like to RSVP and all that, it really is suggested. Right now, he's being slammed, and with a restaurant of that size, if you want to eat during the normal, and if you don't mind late 9:30 or so, then you won't have a problem. But I would certainly suggest, and I know he would welcome any kind of reservations that you would do in advance, just so he can accommodate you at the time you'd like to be seated. Okay, anything else you want to tell us about that? But if not, we're going to go ahead and start taking a look at some of these great dishes.
I think that's about it for that.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead with our first, and we always take a look at the appetizers first. And I think the first one is a diver scallops, I believe.
Yes,
Let's take a yeah. Why don't you tell us about that beautiful presentation?
Pan-seared diver scallops. Very simple. Just a little salt. Sear it really hard. Get a nice color on it, and we serve it with some a saffron sauce and some wild mushroom fricassee. It's mushrooms that have been cooked with shallots and garlic and a little bit of veal stock and white wine.
Wow.
And it's topped with a little micro herb salad.
I see the little beautiful salad on top. Tell us a little bit for those. I get a lot of questions. I'm not a chef about scallops per se. Well, what is the difference between the smaller scallop and the larger, other than size? And I know I have a taste differential, but other than that, I don't know the difference. Can you tell us?
For a larger scallop, I think it's a little bit sweeter, a little more delicate flavor. The smaller bay scallops, you're usually using in soup and things like that. They have a bigger flavor. The larger diver scallops are handpicked, and they're more delicate and
Right.
a more refined flavor.
Yeah,
I think.
I knew the delicacy was there, but I didn't know other than that. And I said, obviously, the smaller ones are more presentable in something else as opposed to just a slew of those on a
Exactly.
plate. Okay, so that's one of his appetizers. Let's take a look at the next one, and this one I believe is really always one of my favorites. If it's good, I believe it's the mussels? This, folks, is always. For most people in the old days, this used to be always an entree. Now it's always featured as an appetizer, but it's more than enough for one person for an appetizer, especially when you include the divine sauce that it's steamed and cooked in, which if you have just a piece of bread in there, it's got to go in there and fill you up. So it is an appetizer, and you can see the portion is large for one person. Tell us a little bit about it, please.
Absolutely. It's a fairly large appetizer. You get about 15 mussels per. We also serve it with Parmesan frites, Parmesan fries. So
okay. Oh, even more so.
Traditional, bistro moules frites was in French is what they call it.
Right.
But these are mussels that are steamed in a little bit of butter, white wine, and lemon juice, garlic, parsley, and shallots. And we just steam them until they just open, and then we top them with some really finely shaded Parmesan Reggiano cheese, and then serve with a nice cone of Parmesan fries to kind of dip in your sauce.
The aroma alone, folks, on a mussel is just from that wine and all those different ingredients. Tell me a little bit about, now that's another thing about, I'm asked, not as often, but years ago I did, because a lot of the sushi boys use like the green mussels from Australia or New Zealand, I believe.
Yes.
Tell us about the
These are actually
differentiation.
Prince Edward Island mussels.
Okay.
They're all farm raised. Some people say, I don't like farm raised stuff, but it's actually, for mussels, it's a great way to do it because they grow them on ropes instead of on the ground floor.
Instead of on the ground.
So there's no sand, there's no grit,
Right.
And being in a rich food environment, they become plumper and larger,